Welcome back. It could be a nightmare scenario for Democrats this November. Latino voters staying away from the ballot box. It's something our next guest is trying to prevent. Actress America Ferrera campaigned for President Biden throughout the 2020 election. Morning Joe reporter Daniela Pierre-Bravo caught up with the Golden Globe winner to talk about the midterm elections and much more. Daniela.
Good morning, Mika. That's right. We chatted about America's impressive career, representation in Hollywood, and the work she's doing to help turn out the Latino vote ahead of the crucial midterm election. Take a look. We've just gotten to the place where there is more representation and more support for our community. But was that the case when you were starting out?
When I started out, it was not very clear that there was any room for somebody like me. In movies like Real Women Have Curves, TV shows like Ugly Betty, they had never existed before. I think we have a long way to go, and a lot of it has to do with decision makers. You know, I think we need to see more Latinos in executive rooms, as producers, as the folks who are making decisions about what stories get told and who gets to tell them.
Well, you're one of those people now, writer, producer, actress. You've won an Emmy, a Golden Globe, a SAG Award. You've been the face of CoverGirl. We see you in the big screen, starting from Real Women Have Curves, where you just embraced your duality. You embraced your culture. But was that the case? What was happening inside at that moment?
I'm a lot more aware now of what it takes to really make it in an industry where there is no representation. There aren't people like you invested in your stories. If it's going to change, we're the ones who have to change it. And I think one of the things that I struggled with was really feeling like there wasn't an easy identity. There wasn't an easy label. I did feel 100% American, and I felt Honduran and Latina. This isn't just a me experience. It's not even just a Latina experience. This actually is an American experience. That feeling of being torn within yourself, because people expect you to feel like a label or like a word, is lonely, and it divides you from yourself.
I'm curious of the sense of loneliness and this alienation that's happening, because you've done a lot with voting. And I wonder if there is any sort of thing that overlaps there in terms of people not feeling part of the system.
You went from loneliness into voting, and it's true that when I'm feeling down and like the world can be so overwhelming, and it doesn't matter what I as an individual do, these problems are too big and insurmountable. The thing that gets me out of that feeling of isolation and helplessness and loneliness is remembering that we actually have each other. We can take action collectively. I love doing Get Out the Vote work. I co-founded Harness with my husband and my friend, and together we just started gathering folks from our own industry, storytellers, executives, artists, decision makers, people with resources, putting them in the same space with frontline activists and organizers.
What do you see as being at stake for our community?
We have everything at stake that everyone else has at stake. But the disadvantage that the Latino community has in this country is a lack of example that we belong here, and that we belong in decision-making roles, that we belong as part of the electoral process. Not only are we missing visually from these systems that are meant to reflect us, but simultaneously we're maligned within them, right? And we're made sort of the problem, or the sleeping giant that never wakes up. People love to blame Latino voters for not showing up. Give us a reason to show up the way that you would court any other voter, and not just reasons, but address the systemic obstacles that our communities face in exercising our vote. To not do that work is to put democracy at stake.
Well, do you think candidates on both sides are doing enough to reach our demographic, to reach Latinos?
I think candidates and campaigns tend to look at Latino communities during election years and in 2-year, 4-year chunks. They're not thinking about what we do today impacts whether or not Latinos are going to show up in 2022 and be huge deciders on who gains control of the House and the Senate. We're not thinking far out enough about this quickly growing community in the United States of America and how much power they have, whether they show up or not. Right. It will still determine what happens politically in this country.
America also spoke about an initiative under the nonprofit Harness called Quince to the Polls, which targets potential voters through the tradition of quinceañeras. That's a celebration and a rite of passage in Latina culture that happens when young women turn 15. And on Saturday, October 29th, they're using this occasion to get young people and their families and friends registered and out early to vote. This is just one of the many initiatives America has taken on to amplify the Latino community, not just to vote, but to empower them to understand how much their voices matter for what's at stake come November and beyond. Mika?